considering that we will have a conversation
So-
with President Trump, we will understand the details. We have always supported the position and Volodymyr Zelensky call ceasefire and not using any weapon against the energy. You are still in the sky. And also do not strike the sea, the port infrastructure, the corridor, and food security, etc. That is, we have always supported, we stood by this, these were our proposals. We will support any proposals that lead to sustainable and just peace. But for this, we need to understand what it's about, what are the details, and well, God willing, we will know all these details so that the partners have discussed with us. Because in this war, there are two sides, Russia and Ukraine. And negotiating without Ukraine, it seems to me, well, is unproductive.
Thank you. Please go ahead, Agence France Presse.
Good day. Thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. Mr. President, could you comment on the information spreading primarily on Russian social media about an alleged Ukrainian military operation in the Belgorod region?
Man, Ukraine is fulfilling its task. In the Kursk region, Ukrainian Council,
The military is theirs.
Volodymyr Zelensky will remain there as long as we need this operation. We have strengthened in the east of our country. And as I said, in my opinion, the Kursk operation has accomplished the maximum. But after Putin says that our guys are surrounded, our guys stand there, showing that they are not surrounded, and that it is not Putin who decides where our guys should retreat. Moreover, there is an operation, someone left. It seems to someone that someone ran and someone left, and somewhere in another corner, someone entered. Volodymyr Zelensky, these are completely understandable strategic steps and goals. As long as the enemy is on our territory, we can do everything to prevent steps by Putin to capture our additional territories. And he desires and wants this. We have observed a buildup, a new concentration of troops opposite our Sumy region. Vinicius, in the Kursk region, we see what they want to do. They want to strike Sumy, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhzhia regions. That's what we see. We won't let them do it so easily. I believe everyone needs to push for lasting peace. If President Trump can to press on the details and not strike at energy and at sea, if that's the first step and there are no other steps yet, then let him explain the details, how we will do it. And I am sure that all our sides, at least the American and Ukrainian side, will support any steps that lead to a reduction in strikes on the three Anjitaran, both for military and for civilian infrastructure. Whatever happens, we will support such steps.
Please channel We Ukraine.
Greetings, Mr. President. Olena Chernyakova, We Are Ukraine. Regarding the conversation with Trump, you have mentioned twice that it is supposed to happen. Can you provide more specifics? What can be discussed, when it might take place, when it was planned, and what agenda do you want to discuss, and specifically about the negotiating group? We also saw in the White House statement that on post-immediate negotiations in the Middle East, does Ukraine already understand what this will be about? Will you be ready after the conversation with Trump to send their Svetlana Fedorova, our negotiation group, which you only approved on Saturday. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes, thank you very much. Look, every day it is such a challenging time now. With challenges, war and wartime, yes. And we talk with partners every day, Kolias, and we are not agreeing on anything in advance right now. Just 5 minutes before our conversation, I was talking to Scholz and I was talking to Macron. They had a meeting before their press conference. We discussed what is happening. Now we are finishing up. I have to talk to the Finnish side. That is, yes, Alexander Pisharenko, and this constantly happens. I have no agreements before this regarding the conversation with President Trump. I'm just saying he had a conversation. They talked about something. We heard some details. I would like to hear more details, especially since the American side suggests a meeting for all of us, not all of us, but for the groups, to meet in the Middle East. I understand it's Saudi Arabia that's meant.
I did not see any additional details. What was voiced in American English?
Doctor, isn't it? We support all steps towards ending the war. We will support it, but in order to support something, we need to understand specifically what it is. Well, if the President Trump has time, he's a busy person. If he has time, he will call anytime. He has a phone. There's no issue. We are ready, and we'll discuss the next steps with him with pleasure.
Please, Associated Press Agency.
Thank you very much. I'm Susie Ferguson, Associated Press. Just with regard to your conversation, you mentioned you have spoken to Macron and Scholz since the call, and what was their view of it? Is there anything that you can share with regard to what they heard? Also, you mentioned I was interested to know how you interpreted the conditions that Russia reiterated again, that there should be sort of no Ukrainian mobilization. Also that basically there should be no more intelligence sharing or military aid given to Ukraine in order for this phased ceasefire, if that's what we want to call it, to turn into a 30-day ceasefire. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, first of all, and President Macron and Chancellor Scholz all want, like me, to know more details. That's normal, like you. And that's absolutely normal. It is, after all, our land, and it's our people dying, not some generalized ones, right? Although it's a pity for everyone, to be honest, right? And that's the first thing. As for the Russians' moves, look, it just takes a sensitive topic and yes, it's a very opportunistic story and raises the topic of mobilization. What's behind this? Behind mobilization, intelligence, weapons, it is the weakening of the Ukrainian army. So the issue is not mobilization. The issue is that the numerical strength of the Ukrainian army is reduced by various measures. That is, this ultimatum of his was at the beginning of the war. I believe that it hasn't changed. He changes the terms, but not the essence. Another old story regarding intelligence and weapons. He saw that the United States can take such steps, and so he raises what he understands may work. That is, it has already been done. Why not do it again? This is again a weakening of the Ukrainian army and intelligence. This is a weakening of the defense of our air defense system, the protection of our people. That is his entire game. All his play is to weaken us as much as possible, to decrease us as much as possible. That's it. Everything else is not raised. The main topic, the first step, ceasefire. The first step is an unconditional success factor. Unconditional. That is, it is immediately the political will of the parties to end the war without unnecessary words. No rhetoric, no intimidation. We have already seen the intimidation by the Russians. Yes, just serious people, even if they are enemies, understand. Any de-escalation starts with clear, unconditional steps. And for this, they need to be ready. I really hope that I just don't know all the details. Again, I really hope that President Trump was able to strongly, push Putin regarding the appropriate steps. Maybe.
Are they consistent? I do not know.
Please, channel 1+1.
Good evening, Mr. President. If there are sound interruptions, I apologize. Unfortunately, we see the situation And as we speak to you now, explosions are occurring in Kyiv. In your opinion, overall, a ceasefire, if it does take place, particularly an embargo on shelling energy facilities, how realistic is it to implement it quickly? Alexander, we saw yesterday the shelling of the Kharkiv region where Ponchina, unfortunately, an infrastructure energy facility was hit again. We are forced to respond in order to, let's say, defend what is ours and show Russia that they cannot, let's say, strike without no answers. In your opinion, after all, when can we see some first real steps? Are they possible without some detailed, clear plan for what we will gradually do with some timelines? And do you believe it will work really?
Rabbit, well, Putin will not allow us to do this quickly first. And it is Putin who, after our agreement with the American side about a swift ceasefire, responded with his understandable actions. So he will not allow it quickly. Alexander Borodyansky, next, he will take various steps and impose obstacles for us. Let's call them conditions, right? And President Trump and the American colleagues, they have now talked with the Russians and discussed possible Serhiy Bodnar, a ceasefire regarding energy. Some infrastructure one must know. Again, sorry for repeating this, one must know more details. The question of mechanisms and details, I think that this way, with such steps, it might move forward.
As for Putin's political will, yes, anxiety is your answer.
And another story, I just asked what we had, what the statistics with Jeddah were. Jeddah was on March 11th.
And basically, if you want to end the war and you don't want it to start again.
And Putin shows that he doesn't want it. He is afraid that Ukrainians will disrupt. But there is strict statistics from the 11th of March. If you don't want the continuation of the war, probably the numbers will be different. And the numbers are as follows. KABs, 1,342. 8 rockets, 580 Shaheds, 44 Lancets, 250 other strikes. Not on the battlefield. We are talking about everything about civilian infrastructure, above all when we talk
Volodymyr
about...
Zelensky about the Shaheds and missiles for sure. So that's the response.
Mikhailo Bahinsky, one more clarification. Actually, when talking about peace on water, it's no secret that this was one of our greatest achievements. The fact is we have provided land routes, but in recent months we see how Russia continues to shell both our ports and our ships that transport grain, effectively disrupting global food security. Man, so will you place any emphasis on this and what is needed to truly make the Black Sea safe? What can we do on our side and how can partners, for example, help us?
The corridor is operating and will continue to operate despite the strikes on it, unfortunately, which are happening. That is, it is operating, whether Russia wants it or not. The corridor will continue to operate. And in the other case, if we say calm at sea, then let's look at what now. What steps will be regarding calm from the point of view of energy, security in energy, the network, and to civilian infrastructure. If we talk about civilian infrastructure, then we need to understand what it is, because ports are an important civilian infrastructure. And if our ports are safe, in principle, the corridor is primarily about strikes on ports. That's where the main danger is. Well, first of all, it is both Dan and Odessa, and yes, our ports. So we'll see how it goes. I think that in the coming days, we will have some progress. We'll see. Again.
Thank you. Please, BBC channel.
Mr. President, good evening. Thank you again for this. Can I press you again on the question asked by James Longman? Ukraine is now willing to match the Russian offer of a ceasefire against energy infrastructure, and so will Ukraine stop attacking energy infrastructure on Russian territory? In other words, are you prepared in principle to match the Russians on this, even though they have not done what you've done, which is to agree in principle for a more comprehensive 30-day ceasefire across the whole country? Thank you, sir.
Andriy Baloka, the two sides, with the mediation of the American side, can agree not to strike the energy infrastructure. It cannot be that Russia strikes our energy sector and we remain silent. We will respond. But both sides, Ukrainian and Russian, can refrain from hitting energy infrastructure.
Our
It
side
will be,
supports.
that was part, again, of our proposal regarding the sky and the sea. With the mediation of the American side, if they are the guarantors of monitoring this silence.
Please, next information agency, Liga.
Moderator, thank you for the opportunity. Mr. President, the next question is, Trump and Putin, as reported by the White House, were supposed to discuss the issue of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. What do you know about this, and what is being negotiated? And in general, what is Ukraine's position on this issue? Thank you.
They know nothing about it.
In addition, this issue was very generally raised at the meeting of our teams in Jeddah. And there were discussions of points, and I talked about them. And we conducted consultations with the teams concerning important infrastructure and energy facilities of our state, even before our team's meeting with Saudi Arabia. That's why any discussions America has with the Russians regarding the Zaporizhzhia station are unknown to me for now. I don't know the details. As for the vision,
Roman Barenko, this is our station.
He will not
You cannot
do it.
operate without us.
according to our intelligence, the Russians really wanted to operate without us. They are trying to drag the IAEA into this. But the IAEA is a serious international institution, and so far they have not let us down. I strongly believe and hope that this will continue in the future, both near and distant. And therefore, the station is ours.
6 blocks, they
And
are
for
important.
us,
Again, well,
no one
will not allow, the Ukrainian side will allow them.
man, so that this station on the occupied part of our temporarily occupied land would operate for the occupier. This is our position.
Which one?
Thank you. Please go ahead. Reuters News Agency.
Thank you. Good evening. Volodymyr Alexandrovich, I wanted to ask your reaction to Putin's attempts to discuss a wider range of issues with the American side, including Iran and other problems in the Middle East. What is your reaction to this?
A wider range of issues. This is to exclude Ukraine as much as possible from this process, because indeed the parties have a wide field of their own topics, and this is understandable. America, Korea, an independent state, with all due respect to America, to the president, they can discuss whatever they want, their issues. I don't even want to and express their vision and thoughts. It seems to me that these are their bilateral relations. Although undoubtedly it has an impact on our situation. And I would like to emphasize, and in front of everyone, Korea for the war in Ukraine of the Russians against us. And therefore, I would not like to, I spoke about this quite frankly, even to the American side. With all respect, again, I don't want to offend anyone, but I don't want us to be on the menu for Putin. Volodymyr Zelensky, you understand, right? We are, well, yes, not a salad and not a compote for this person, despite his appetite. And we see what it is, and that's it. We are an independent state, and therefore without us, about us. Well, I believe that this Negotiating is wrong because there will not be a desired result for everyone.
Bogdana Lovinova, thank you. Next, please, colleagues from CNN. Is CNN with us?
Yes, I'm so sorry for that. Forgive me. I wanted to ask you, is there anything that President Putin could say that you would take as a gesture of goodwill that you think could set this process on a positive path?
Return all of our prisoners.
Simply remarkable people.
He loses nothing, not even what he illegally seized.
Molo-chan, I do not want to argue about this with the enemy. For this, we need to find a format, an infrastructure, how to negotiate diplomatically.
But to hand over all the prisoners. And I believe that demonstrates
the will and desire to end the war. Because, guys, these prisoners there.
And the girls who have been sitting there for years.
Do not be afraid of them. And we are reasonable people. We will not send them to the front again. Never. They need help, medicine. Some need rehabilitation. There are people with very serious injuries.
And therefore,
I believe that this truly demonstrates a desire to end the war. We took a very simple, very simple step. And the second step, right? Well,
should I laugh?
That
Yes.
it is dangerous for the ceasefire because it is very fragile. We see with you that
Andrew
on
Putnov. It's happening in the Middle East. We have seen it.
Bohdan Butkevich, what is a ceasefire? And we had ceasefire violations in Ukraine. I mean, the Russians violated it 20-something times. I am just saying that these two things are unconditional.
Katyunya, thank you. Please, next to Spilne, Christina.
Good evening. Mr. President, what we see is, in fact, Russia has rejected the United States proposal. Despite this, a tweet from President Trump just appeared where he calls this a conversation, good, productive. You already spoke this week about how Russia will try to get bogged down in the details of these negotiations to avoid any actual ceasefire. What will your message to President Trump be in this conversation that might take place? Will you try to convey this to him? Thank you.
I always try to do everything to the maximum for the sake of the result. And the result here is for everyone, because peace is not only for Ukraine, primarily for us, because we have a war, but it is also important for everyone. And for President Trump, I consider it important because he talked about it. He is the leader of the United States of America. America wants the war to end. I believe not everyone needs peace. Only Putin or Putin needs peace the way he sees it, not like the whole world, but as he sees it, and therefore rabid. I believe that important things are to push through unconditional steps. And even if it doesn't work out, I don't know, a dialogue regarding the ceasefire at sea, in the sky, and on the front, but to take maximal steps. Krolik.
It's not weakness to suggest that.
It is strength, because the end of the war is strength. The start of the war is weakness. Everything is the opposite. A person with a weapon who came to us is weak, but a person who started to defend themselves, this person is strong.
Is that a
colleague? And that's why I believe that President Trump, I believe this leap, it was correct. And what he said, that let's try ceasefire, but Putin simply did not expect that we would confirm this because he is playing, well, a completely different story. What does Putin want? I would really like President Trump to hear and see what Putin wants above all.
Putin wants to carry out several offensive actions.
As we said, in Zaporizhzhia, in the east to continue, in Zaporizhzhia, in Kharkiv, in the Sumy directions, he will try to do this. For what purpose? In order to put maximum pressure on Ukraine. When will this happen? Believe me, he will try to do this in the coming months. That's how it will happen. He will want to advance to further enter our territory as much as possible. He doesn't care how many people of his will die. It doesn't matter. This doesn't need to be repeated anymore. So the value of people does not matter at all. Together with his Koreans and other friends in Iran, with the Shaheeds, he wants to enter our territories as much as possible in order to. And now I will explain to the
Forward.
people.
To what? In order to, at some point,
Ilan.
A straw.
be a ceasefire.
With ultimative a message to Ukraine. The best mistake. To be in a more advantageous position and to apply maximum pressure on Ukraine, on our people, directly on me.
And that's a fact.
And that's exactly what he wants. And ultimatums can be, well, of various kinds. You hear some messages. That's what he wants. That's why we need here.
We mean strength. America's principle.
Stand your ground and push him, right?
Thank you. Volodymyr Alexandrovich, if we still have time, we have 3 media outlets, 3 questions if possible. 5 to 10 minutes, all right?
They no, of course, that's the point.
Yes, politics.
Bodana A, I wanted to thank you, Mr. President. I wanted to slightly summarize your reaction to what Donald Trump presented as a great success. Barkatova, success. Is this skepticism or cautious optimism? Do you still have it? Do you trust that Russia will still, at a certain undefined moment, beg, stop to shell our energy infrastructure? Do you think that before declaring success, it is necessary to talk to you and learn your opinion and approach to this situation? Thank you very much.
First of all, I believe that even if there is a partial ceasefire and an unconditional partial ceasefire, I think this is a positive outcome. This, in any case, brings us closer to one or another end of the war. Whether some steps, yes, which, well, in any case, are towards peace and not towards further engagement in military combat situations. Yes, on the front lines, that's first. I believe it's right. If we know all the details, I hear.
Without accusations, I just think that
Marco Zuba, even like in Jeddah, they talked. The groups talked in parallel, contacted their presidents. Everything moved very quickly. And in a day, progress. This is truly progress. In diplomacy, they eased complex moments and also saw common diplomatic steps, unfroze assistance, exchanged data. I believe it was very positive. This is what it means when we talk more, share more details. That's what I said. I'm skeptical of the Russians, right? Well, because you see, he immediately said that I am now giving the order and nothing is flying anywhere.
That's a lie. What are you preaching?
when we agreed with him on
Alexander Poroshenko, ceasefire, I want to remind you. And then because we talked on the phone and it was constantly breaking down in the east.
From the Russian side,
And
talking
we
about
in
this blogger. What breaks loose there?
I've been there. Yes, but it's clear that
he didn't care whether it breaks or not. That's it. So I am skeptical. This doesn't mean we don't want to stop the war. We are skeptical from the perspective of trust in the Russians. There is no trust in Putin. That's why I say it is necessary to understand how technically this will happen so that it does not depend solely on their desire. That's all.
Thank you. You're welcome. The last two questions, Interfax and Obozrevatel, and we will conclude. Interfax, please, Maria.
Anna, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to ask questions. Mr. President, it was reported yesterday that the United States officially informed Blogger Euroist is a human rights group investigating Russia's aggression against Ukraine. Can you please say what you think the consequences of such a decision might be? And could this threaten further investigations of aggression crimes, including Putin's? Thank you.
To be honest, I don't know the details yet. Honestly, I asked to prepare because probably just like you, I saw it in the media. Maybe you have other sources. I saw it in the media, but it doesn't give me fully and Kairilo Tabures, the situation, the full picture. I asked the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Our minister replied to me that first of all, we, not a fact collector, that something will be stopped or paused. So we agreed that he will prepare it for me now. I am Finland, Norway. In a day, in 2 days, I will be in Kyiv, and I will look at all of these.
Please, reviewer.
Good evening, Mr. President. Thank you for the opportunity to ask a question. Please tell me, the question is about the peacekeeping mission and the participation of our European partners in the mission and the truce. Are there any signals from them about their understanding of actions if Russia violates this truce? And do they really understand that most likely this truce will be violated by Russia? What do they say? Thank you.
Are we talking about a ceasefire or about a contingent? What are we talking about? It's just a little bit, in short, the ceasefire leads to the contingent because it's the first step, for what? To prepare the agreement. And when the agreement is ready, part of the agreement will definitely be security guarantees. And whether there will be contingents or not, in what for Volodymyr Zelensky, right now, I am not ready to say. That is to understand your question.
What is it? Do our partners understand that Russia might still violate agreements? And what are their actions regarding this? Increase aid and so on?
Well, I think that an increase in aid should happen. And we see it happening from the European colleagues, thawing, grateful to the United States for renewing aid. Now, I see some shortages, but in general, overall, there are no serious deficits today. There are issues with FPV. There are some other issues, but in terms of artillery, in terms of some mine systems and so on, we are addressing these issues for now. And to be honest, we are increasing. There are several contracts. They are not free as they were, in the first year or first and second year of the war. We have non-free assistance, but we have it. That is, we find either partner funds or our own money for it. So the aid will not affect this in any way, I am sure. Quite the opposite. Now, all countries, and I am not in Finland by accident and not in Norway by accident, all countries are making two things a priority. First, Abramovich, first, they are increasing support. Second, they are increasing the percentage of this support.
in the domestic production. Such a clear help.
In general, regarding. And the second, concerning inflammation, that is...
Bohdan Butkevich, air defense systems. Everyone believes that, no matter what the silence is.
When will there be silence? Where is she?
It will be clear that Ukraine does not have terms of production. as of now, but nevertheless, this is air defense. We will not close here with funding.
Victor Slinchak,
P,
want it simply in our budget.
not
Their defense system is not
well,
enough.
we need to order, negotiate with other countries and obtain licenses and open our own factories.
Vladislav Chernyshov.
Yes,
This is from their
exactly.
point of view in our country. That is man, lines, right? That's why everyone understands it.
Well, and control. Well, look here. It's about
I
design.
am ancient. If we want to end the war, but
And the ceasefire will work.
Sky.
Reggie, even if the circle is just the sky,
And why do I still look at it positively? Because the sky can be controlled 100%.
100%, but details are needed.
What we do not take from the military, FPV, which is at the front, we have no right to. We were ready to stop everything, silence everywhere. Yes, but if this is not there and we talk about the sky and talk about energy, then let's talk about energy and the sky. But do not take away people's ability to defend themselves at the front. That is why I said, well, the devil is in the details. Let's meet and let the groups meet and negotiate.